course, I know something about you. I know something about you. I know something about you. You. I know something about you. I know something about you. I know something about you. You. I know something about you. I know something about you. I know something about you. You. And we say one day we will be free. We will be free. And we say one day we'll be free. We will be free.
Da-da, 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 keep digging, keep digging, keep digging, keep digging.
Hey, you know, the AIDS epidemic is about as bad as slavery. Slavery in my time. You know, we used to walk the streets, and it used to be so dangerous for people of color, black people, and then now we got the AIDS and HIV epidemic.
Now, it's very clear, you know, we talk about the HIV/AIDS epidemic as if this was so recent, and most people don't understand how recent it is. Well, my mother used to fight wars that talked about HIV, AIDS, and this dot. Hi, yes, my name's Dr. A. Yes, so I have a question. So you think just because you fight for those rights and you fight for the stereotypes that fall up under those rights and under that umbrella that the rest of us are automatically supposed to jump in and fight for them too, even if they relate to us? So do you actually think that we're the ones that are supposed to, you know, let's say I'm not an advocate for anything that you're advocating about, even though it might affect me or it might affect someone I know. What if I'm not an advocate for that? You know, when they talk about rights of LGBTQ youth and, you know, they throw it around, but plenty of them are only protecting their assets. They're protecting how much riches they have. Plenty of them, like I had this drag queen ask me, they were discussing me one time, and they were like, what if you're undercover? And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to be judged by the person that I sleep with. You know, I do so much volunteer and community service and service work that if you sleep with me, you're not necessarily guaranteed to be worth anything. You might be worth nothing. When you get done, you might just be a one-night stand, you know. So I do a lot of volunteerism and servitude, you know. So when I do a lot of volunteerism and servitude, it bothers me that refugees come in the country and they demand this from the Dreamer Act. And I'm not saying that it's not their right to ask for things, but aren't these things that the United Nations should actually play a part in? Do you even know what the United Nations is? You need to know the other countries and whatnot. You know, because when they were asking me about the refugees crisis, and I told them, well, I don't support refugees in the country, and I don't support people making me a refugee, and I'm a citizen of this country, because this country has yet to pay everything for its citizens, and we can't always be worried about everybody in every other country. And if they're going to come to this country, at least allow them to come here legally. That way the ones that are here legally that are of the similar backgrounds and ethnicities, they won't get worked up and upset because they earned their spot and they earned their right here. And I of course understand that other people want to be here and have the opportunity to work their rights, but isn't that a United Nations issue? Isn't that issues for offices where you actually sign up to be in those offices? You know, I'm not like duly righted to believe or feel as you feel. And in the United States of America, of course, you have the right to your opinion, but we don't always like your opinion, just like you won't always like my opinion. But do I want to be judged by who I sleep with? Absolutely not. When I do a lot more than most people do in a regular day just through volunteerism and service. You know, you could pick up a broom, you could pick up a mop, you can pick up a rake if necessary, you know, but I don't feel like you get it when y'all say LGBTQ rights. You mean at what part do they step out of the LGBTQ era and step into, okay, I'm a person first, not just who I sleep with or my sexual orientation. And mind you, that there are some people with body parts that do not align with themselves when I get that portion where it's actually medically correct. However, just the whining and the crying and the complaining and whatnot, you know, I'm more curious about that portion. At what point in y'all fighting for stereotypes and rights, even as African Americans, where there are Black Americans that don't feel the same as African Americans, because the first thing African Americans do is say, we go back to our homeland and our heritage, and we fight from our heritage, but you're American. Some of y'all were born in America. So at what point do Americans and those of color as Americans not fight the same stereotypes that everybody else is getting paid off of that and get paid based off the value that they bring to the table, whether they are more than 3/5 of a slave or less than?
You are now bound in chains. You are now bound in chains. You are now bound in chains. You are now bound in chains.